How's it going, Rogues Gallery, and welcome to another Flesh and Blood video here on Red Zone Rogue. Today we are talking about the first week of Tales of Aria spoilers. There's some really sweet stuff to talk about. I can't wait. Let's just do it. We have a ton of cards to talk about today. So we're gonna kick it off with Lexi, because I have not actually talked about Lexi yet and given you my full thoughts on this absolutely fantastic new Ranger hero. I do want to mention really quickly that if you're looking to pick up some Tales of Aria first edition, definitely check out Channel Fireball. I do have an affiliate link with Channel Fireball. Type in Rogue at checkout and it goes and supports me. Or you know what? Go and support your local game store. Anyway, let's talk about Lexi here. So we're not going to go super into detail on every single card, but I think we should for Lexi, just because, well, she's a hero and it's definitely worth talking about, you know, all of her mechanics. So Lexi Livewire is an elemental ranger hero. Has essence of ice and lightning, which means you can have ice cards and lightning cards in your deck. She has a once per turn action of turning a face down card in your arsenal face up. If it's a lightning card, your next attack this turn gains go again. If it's an ice card, create a frostbite token under target hero's control. Go again. So she has built-in go again. She has this way to generate these like ice tokens, frostbite tokens, which are these. This is a frostbite token here. It says cards and activated abilities you control cost an additional 1 resource. At the beginning of your end phase, or when you play a card or activate a ability, destroy the frostbite token. This is pretty debilitating for a lot of go wide decks, and the fact that she has a built-in way to do it means you could probably play Lexi either as like a go wide aggro style deck or as like a control deck where you really want to focus on making a bunch of frostbite tokens. So I think that's awesome that she, you know, her built-in abilities lends herself to do multiple different archetypes. And I really think this frostbite token is going to be a huge deal going forward in Flesh and Blood. So let's show off her young version. Absolutely beautiful. Lexi's just a really cool, no pun intended. Okay, pun intended. Really cool hero. Next up, we have Shiver. This was one of my 2 spoiler cards for Tales of Aria. I think this is one of the best bows ever made. It has a once per turn instant effect. For a single resource, you can put an arrow card from your hand face up into an empty arsenal zone you control. If you do, choose 1. The arrow gains +1 until end of turn, or it gains Dominate, which is absurd. This card is absurd. You can give Dominate and Go Again just by having Lexi and her weapon. Just these built-in ways to do this. So I think that is really good. Really good. We'll talk a little bit more about this whole empty arsenal zones, because there's a card that lets you put, you know, lets you have multiple arsenal zones. I don't think it's as good as some people think it is, but I do think it is pretty good. So we'll go into that when the time comes. Next up, we have Voltaire, Strike Twice. And what it is, it's an elemental ranger weapon, 2-handed bow, just like how Shiver, same thing, elemental ranger weapon. Azalea can't use this. Azalea can't use Voltaire either. It is a majestic, which is quite interesting. And it says twice per turn instant, put an arrow card from your hand face up into an empty arsenal zone you control. If you do, choose 1. It gains +1 until end of turn, or it gains Go Again. So kind of similar to Shiver, except it lets you do it twice. And it has a Go Again instead of Dominate. So the difference between here is one of them, you know, is better for a go tall. One of them is better for a go wide. Very interesting. But I do like the design space here, how you have options for whatever you want to do. Next up, we have Light It Up. Oh, dude, I love this card. The art is amazing. First of all, the art is amazing for this entire set. For this entire game, the art is amazing. I do believe the artists are severely underrated. Go and support the artists. Check them out on their social medias. Follow them. Support them. This is something I'm really passionate about. I can't stress that enough. But Light It Up. Yeah, Light It Up. This card's awesome. Okay, it's an elemental ranger action, arrow attack, 3 defense, 4 attack, cost 1, 2 pitch value. It's one of Lexi's specializations. It says Lightning Fusion. As additional cost to play Light It Up, you may reveal a lightning card from your hand. If Light It Up was fused, it gains, if this hits a hero, deal 1 damage to them for each equipment they control. Barf. Up to 4, basically. It's really good. Well, up to 4. Do weapons and whatnot count as equipment? I don't think so. I'll have to look it up. Anyway, it says, if lighted up, deals damage to a hero equal to or greater than the number of equipment they control. Equipment they control lose and can't gain activated abilities until end of their next turn. Holy freaking smokes, this card is incredible. The 1 attack for, or the 1 cost for 4 attack isn't good. It's good, but it's not great. The fact that it attacks for 4 at all is pretty good. It means it's inherently a little bit harder to defend because it means your opponent has to defend with 2 cards or equipment or 2 cards plus or 1 card plus something else, basically, which is pretty good. And if you can kind of give it dominate, you know, with all of these built-in ways to get dominate through, well, basically Shiver here, then it's even better. So Light It Up is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And it's gorgeous. And I want the playmat. I think everyone wants the playmat. It's so good. Next up, we have Ice Storm, another absolutely freaking beautiful card. Narendra Biadi, dude, amazing. This one is Alexander Makov, dude, amazing. All right, so what does Ice Storm do? So Ice Storm is another majestic elemental ranger action, 2 defense. It costs 0. It says Ice and Lightning Fusion. So we're not going to go over the fusion every single time. Fusion just means if it's Ice Fusion, you can reveal an Ice card. If it's Lightning Fusion, you can reveal a Lightning card. This is and. You have to do both. It says, as additional cost to play Ice Storm, you may reveal an Ice and a Lightning card. It's not an or, it's an and. You have to do both. It says, your next arrow attack this turn gains +3. Pretty good. 0 cost, +3. That's a really good rate. And it says, if Ice Storm was fused, your next arrow attack this turn gains, if it hits a hero, deal 1 damage to them. And whenever this attack deals damage to a hero, create that many Frostbite tokens under their control. Gross. This card is gross, and it is also very, very good. So, I think this is going to be good in almost like any type of Lexi deck. Go wide, go tall. It's fantastic. You do have to play both Ice and Lightning. So that's the real caveat here. It's just like, you know, even if you don't have that, 0 cost +3, pretty good. Only affects arrows, but overall, I think this card is fantastic. Next up, we have Snapshot, another freaking awesome piece of artwork here by Federico Musetti. 0 cost, red pitch, 3 defense, 4 attack. This is just a rare, so you can have yellow and blue pitch, and we'll show those off quickly. It says Lightning Fusion. If Snapshot was fused, you may activate abilities of bows you control an additional time this turn, as though they were an instant. Freaking awesome. So giving this go again, you know, through Lexi or bow or whatever, makes it so you can use your bow again. Really good. And this is even better if you have, depending on your bow, right? So obviously you can use this in conjunction with the new bows, but you can also use it with like Death Dealer or something like that. So I think that is sweet. And also just 0 cost for 4 attack is just really, really good. That's kind of like the rate you want to be getting out of your attacks here. We have the yellow version, which attacks for 3, and the blue version, which attacks for 2. I think they're great, especially, well, they're all pretty good, right? Because they don't have an on-hit effect. You just get it if you fused it. So I think they're all pretty good. I think they're great. So, yeah. Next up, we have Buzzbolt. This is an Elemental Ranger arrow attack, 3 defense, 5 attack for 1 resource. Pretty good. This is the red pitch version. It's a common. So as Lightning Fusion, if Buzzbolt was fused, whenever an attack hits a hero this turn, it deals 1 damage to him. That's pretty sweet. So that's kind of like an ongoing effect for the whole turn. Whenever an attack hits a hero, just deals an extra damage to them. Pretty good. 1 cost, 5 attack. Pretty good. And it's well, it's just an Elemental Ranger attack with Lightning Fusion. It is not a lightning attack, so that's also important to keep in mind. There we have the yellow version of it, 4 attack, and the blue version, 3 attack. I think it's pretty good. Next up, we have Chilling Icebane with freaking awesome artwork. This is a 1 cost, 5 attack ranger, Elemental Ranger arrow attack, 3 defense. This one has Ice Fusion. If Chilling Icebane was fused, whenever an attack deals damage to a hero this turn, they discard a card unless they pay 1. I'm not sure how much I like these kind of effects, because in Flesh and Blood, you basically block with cards from your hand anyway, so it's just like saying, hey, block it more. It like doesn't give your opponent that much of a choice to block it out or not block it out, because if it deals damage to them, they've got to discard a card or pay a resource. So I'm not a huge fan of these kind of effects, but I think the card's good. I think it's really good for limited because it's common. We also have a 1 cost. I mean, I guess it just forces your opponent to block a lot. I mean, I guess that's the really big advantage of it. Anyway, we have the yellow version attacking for 4 and the blue version attacking for 3. Next up, we have Frazzle. This is another 1 cost 5 attack elemental ranger arrow attack. Lightning fusion. If Frazzle was fused, whenever an attack would deal damage this turn, it deals that much damage plus 1. That's pretty good, right? That much damage plus 1. I mean, that is a little bit different than the other one. So this one is, it does that much damage plus 1, whereas hold on, let's go back to it. Buzzbolt, whenever an attack hits a hero this turn, it deals 1 damage to them. Interesting. I know there is like a difference between the two, but unless, through corner cases, it's kind of similar. Anyway, pretty good. Frazzle's pretty good. Yeah, so we have the 1 cost, or we have the yellow version attacking for 4, and the blue version attacking for 3. Next up, we have Entwine Ice with another just absolutely stunning piece of artwork by Narendra Biati, quickly becoming one of my favorite Flesh and Blood artists. There's a 1 cost 5 attack elemental attack action. 1 cost 5 attack, man, there's a lot of 1 cost 5 attacks. It kind of sucks that they're not 6 attack because it makes you kind of hosed against illusionists, right? They're all 5 attacks and not 6 attacks. That's pretty rough. Anyway, this one has Ice Fusion, and if it was fused, it gets Dominate. Pretty good, right? 1 cost 5 attack Dominate, not bad. And then we have the yellow version attacking for 4, and you guessed it, the blue version attacking for 3. Next up, we have Entwine Lightning. 0 cost Lightning Fusion. It's an elemental action attack. If Entwine Lightning was fused, it gains Go Again. So, you can reveal a lightning card from your hand. Give it Go Again. 0 cost 4 attack Go Again. That's pretty good. We also have the blue version attacking, or the yellow version attacking for 3, and the blue attacking for 2. Next up, we have another elemental action, so non-attack action, 0 cost. The next attack you fuse this turn gains plus 4 Go Again. 0 for plus 4 is great, but this kind of means you have to have this plus an attack plus a card to fuse that attack in your hand. So you basically need 3 cards to get this going, or like 2 cards in hand, 1 card in arsenal, something like that. So it's kind of a heavy setup, but plus 4 is great. So I'm not sure if this will see play, but I think it's pretty good. It's really conditional. And then of course I didn't cover this, but plus 3 for yellow and plus 2 for blue. Next up, we have Pulse of Volthaven. Dude, I love the art, and I love the border on this card, man. Look at the border, how one side is like ice and the other side's like electricity. Oh, this is sweet. So this is a 0 cost lightning ice instant. So these other cards, like I was saying, they're just elemental cards, right? Just because they have the word, lightning fusion on it or whatever, doesn't mean it's a lightning card. It has to say lightning on the type line on the bottom, right? So just like, let's get to it again. Pulse of Volthaven says lightning ice instant. It's very, very, keep that in mind. This is a legendary card, but not legendary rarity. It just means you can only have one of it in your deck. Your next lightning, ice, or elemental attack this turn gains plus 4. That's great. That's great because it pumps lightning, ice, or any elemental attack for 0 plus 4. So this is much better, obviously, than the Invigorate, which was 0 plus 4 to the card that you fuse. This one just gives you plus 4, and it's an instant, which is great. So this card's fantastic. Basically, are you playing Lexi? Are you playing lightning and ice cards? Put this in your deck. That's basically how it's going to go. We have Amulet of Earth, and we're going to go over all of the amulets, or at least most of the amulets today. This is a 0 cost item with Go Again, which is fantastic. So you just play it, you have Go Again. It's also an item, so it doesn't block, but it has 3 pitch. So you have some give and take there. It says instant, which is also great. Destroy Amulet of Earth. Attack action cards you gain or you control gain plus 1 attack and plus 1 defense this turn. Activate this ability only if you have Earth fused this turn. So it's going to be really hard to do this on your opponent's turn. Getting that additional defense. You might be able to do it somehow. Maybe there's a way to do it that I just haven't seen yet, or we haven't covered yet at least. But yeah, plus 1 to all your stuff for the turn if you've Earth fused. Seems pretty good. You can just play this out, wait till you need to do it, and then pop off. Even if you can play 3 of these, pop them all in the same turn because they're all just instant effects. Just go for a really big turn. Seems like a pretty good setup card. I don't hate it at all. And it's common. This is going to be pretty good and limited, I think. Next up, we have Frostfang with awesome freaking artwork by, again, Narendra Biadi. Dude, I didn't even realize that this was their artwork. This is going to be like the Narendra Biadi hour. So this is a 2-cost attack, or 2-cost ice attack for 5 damage. If it hits a hero, they discard a card unless they pay 2. Once again, I don't like these effects all that much. It is just telling you, like, hey, block it out, right? Just block it out. Unless you can kind of give it dominate or something to really push it through. It's just saying, hey, you got to block it. Blocks for 2, pretty good. I think it's pretty good. 2 costs for 5 attack, not the best rate. You really want to hit that 6 attack there, but it's not the worst. I'm not sure if it'll see play, but maybe for limited. So we have the yellow version coming in for 4, and the blue version coming in for 3 damage. Next up, we have Chill to the Bone. This is a 0-cost ice action, non-attack action. The next time an ice or elemental attack hits a hero this turn, create 3 frostbite tokens under their control. Woof. It has to hit, but I mean, if you can dominate, I mean, this is probably a pretty good card in your control Lexi, where you're dominating a lot and you're making all these frostbite tokens. Yeah, that seems rough. I think this is pretty good. Yeah, I think it's pretty good. Next up, we have, the yellow Chill to the Bone, creating 2 tokens, and then the blue one creating a single lonely token. That's probably still really good. Next up, we have the Amulet of Ice, same kind of deal. It's an ice action item, blue pitch with go again, instant, destroy Amulet of Ice, target hero discards a card unless they pay 2, activate this ability only if you have Ice Fuse this turn. Seems pretty good, actually. Seems pretty good. Just blow it up and make them discard a card. Oh man, this would be pretty rough. I was gonna say brutal and rough, so it came out bruff. This sounds rough. If your opponent, if you play like 3 of these, you can kind of get 3 of these out somehow, and then just be like, hey, you have no hand. I'm gonna pop them all. I don't know. It seems cool. Pun intended. Ooh, Shock Charmers. Yeah, this one's sweet. So Shock Charmers, Lightning Equipment Arms, legendary, with an artist that I don't recognize, and it's hard to read. Isuardi Therianto? I don't know. It looks freaking awesome. This art is amazing. So this artist is great. Anyway, instant for 2 resources. The next time an attack action card you control hits a hero this turn, it deals 1 damage to them. And it also has Spell Void, which means you can basically like destroy this to prevent 2 arcane damage. I think this card's good. I think it's really sweet and a go wide lightning style deck. So once again, I think there's like these 2 Lexi builds that you can do, right? You can do this go wide Lexi, where you do a lot of like damage and pop off with your Shock Charmers, or you can do a ice themed Lexi control kind of thing. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's cool. I'm really curious to see how this will work with the other lightning hero, because I think there's going to be 2 lightning heroes, 2 ice heroes, blah blah blah, because each hero has 2 of the 3 attributes. So I assume like whatever like the, I don't know what it is, like the druidy kind of one, druid spellcastery ones, probably earth and lightning. All right, so next card we have Channel Thunderstep. This is a 1-cost lightning action aura, blocks for 3, has go again, has yellow pitch value. Whenever you play an action card, you may pay 1. If you do, it gains go again. Whoa. And it says Channel Lightning. At the beginning of your end phase, put a flow counter on Channel Thunderstep. I think that's so flavorful. Then destroy it unless you put a lightning card from your pitch zone on the bottom of your deck for each flow counter on it. This is weird. This is weird. I think this card is awesome. And I think it has some really, really cool like build around like synergies basically. So how good this card is going to be really dictated upon how good lightning is going to be just in general, because you really need to have lightning cards in this to work. But I think it's freaking awesome. And Mark Poole, I mean, you can't go wrong. Next up, we have Weave Lightning. This is a 0-cost lightning action with 2 defense. I think this card's fantastic, by the way. It says the next lightning or elemental attack action you play this turn gains +3. If it's fused, it gains go again. And then this itself also has go again. So it's basically an unconditional +3. It's getting hot in here, man. Unconditional +3 on any lightning or elemental attack action you play this turn. And then if you fuse it, it also has go again, which is like really good. The yellow version only does +2, and then you guessed it, blue +1. I think it's pretty good. I think it's really good for a go tall type strategy. Next up, we have Shock Striker. 1 cost, 5 attack, lightning attack action with 2 defense, once per turn instant, which we've seen this kind of effect on some other cards, which is very, very interesting. They're really expanding the play design space here. For 2 resources, Shock Striker gains, if Shock Striker hits a hero, deal 1 damage to them. So you can kind of like come in for 5 and then threaten an additional 1 damage if they don't block it out. Not bad. I think it's all right. Then we have yellow, 4 attack, and blue, 3 attack. Next up, we have Electrify with amazing freaking artwork. Who is this one? Faisal Fikri. I apologize if I butchered your name, but amazing. This is a 1 cost lightning action. This says the next time an attack action card hits a hero this turn, it deals 3 damage to them. If Electrify is played from Arsenal, draw a card. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. So it kind of replaces itself and just deals an extra 3 damage. I think this is sweet. I think this card is sweet. We have the yellow version dealing 2 damage and the blue version dealing 1 damage. I think this card is sweet. Yeah. Next up, we have the Amulet of Lightning. So 0 cost, go again, instant. It's an item. It says destroy Amulet of Lightning. Target action card gains go again. Activate this ability only if you have Lightning Fuse this turn. Really good, right? So if you have Lightning Fused, just give whatever you want, go again. I love the amulets. I think they're all fantastic for setting up really big turns. This one obviously focuses on go wide, whereas like, you know, the ice one is like go tall, or rather the earth one is go tall, and the ice one is kind of like a control-y style thing. Anyway, I think they're all fantastic. Next up we have, oh yeah, Rotten Old Buckler. This card is sweet. This is a card that people have guessed for so long. If you played Flesh and Blood for a long time, people always guess a shield. So Rotten Old Buckler is a Guardian Equipment offhand with Blade Break and 1 defense. So you can just have this, you know, as part of your equipment, as your offhand weapon. So you can have a one-hand weapon and then an offhand, and then you can just block with it once and then it's destroyed. Interesting. Probably really good for limited. And I do know there's a legendary shield. We're not going to talk about it today, but there's a legendary shield that's really sweet. Next up we have, here's some spice. New Horizon. This is a card that I think is fantastic, but I think it might be a little overrated. In some ways. I think it's really good. I think it's really good for certain strategies. Okay. Pardon me. So, New Horizon. Ranger Equipment Headpiece has 2 defense. It's a legendary. Once again, absolutely freaking gorgeous artwork by Mihail. Really good. It says, while you have a face-up card in your arsenal, you have an additional arsenal zone. So this is how you get your 2 arsenal zones. When New Horizon is destroyed, destroy all cards in your arsenal. That makes sense, right? And then it has Blade Break, so you can only block with it once. Okay, so let's talk about this card. New Horizon does not replace Skullbone Crosswrap. Period. It does not replace it. They do entirely different things. You put these in entirely different decks. You put New Horizon in a go wide deck, or maybe some sort of setup deck where you really want those 2 arsenal zones. For Skullbone Crosswrap, you really want it in a go tall deck where you can kind of opt and kind of set up some really cool turns, or in a deck that you just don't care about the multiple arsenal zones. Or you put it in a deck where you need that arcane barrier. Like I said, there's a lot of like give and take here. There's a lot of options, and I actually love the design. I actually love the design because you now have a reason to choose between 2 good pieces of equipment. There's no like obvious slam dunk. The equipment that you choose is determined by your deck build and your strategy. There's no like auto include, right? You pick the one for the strategy that you're doing, and I love that. I absolutely love that. Also, I don't think this card's very great for Azalea at all. I'm not even sure how she can use it based on her bows and stuff. Maybe there's going to be another bow that makes it so she can use it, but in any case, I think this is great. I think the design is great. The art is great. I love how you have options now. You have options, and that is fantastic. It's not just like always run the Skullbone Crosswrap, and I don't think it's you always run New Horizon. You just pick and choose based on your strategy, and that's brilliant. A lot of times you're going to want both, right? You're going to want to have both, and so you'll put in your Crosswrap against matchups where you need that arcane barrier, or you can put this one in matchups where you really need that 2 defense, right? Because don't count that out. Even though it's destroyed, 2 defense is still 2 defense. It's quite good. Any ninja player knows that the Mask of Momentum still blocks for 2, which is pretty good. So anyway, I think this card's great. I love it. Everything about it. Love it. Next up we have, oh, my card, Seek and Destroy. Oh, I loved this card. If you have not seen my spoiler video for Seek and Destroy, please watch it. I spent a lot of time on it. It meant a lot to me. Azalea is my favorite character, tied with Viserai, and I really wanted to do Azalea justice, both for the fans and for myself, and just for Azalea. So I think this card's great. This card is actually designed specifically for Azalea, and I kind of went over that in the video, but I didn't kind of tell you, like, I talked to James White about this card, and he just straight up told me, he's like, this was designed for Azalea to be used with Red in the Ledger. It does work pretty well with Remorseless, but it really, really shines with Red in the Ledger. You can play this in Lexi, but it's not as good in Lexi because Lexi can't play Red in the Ledger. So I think this is going to be basically a 3 of in almost every single Ranger deck. It's going to be one of the best Ranger cards, just regular Ranger cards, because what else is here for like the best Ranger cards? Remorseless and Seek and Destroy. So yeah, I think this card's great. Will it single-handedly save Azalea? No, which I think is also funny. People are like, oh, save Azalea. Save Azalea from what? She was already like the least played class. I think it'll actually make Azalea better. I think it'll make her better. Is it going to make her top tier? Probably not. Is it going to make her more viable? Yeah, it'll make her more viable. We'll have to see how much more viable it'll make her, but I think it's fantastic, and I'm definitely building an Azalea deck with 3 Seek and Destroys, and I'm going to be building a Lexi deck with also 3 Seek and Destroys because this card is freaking good. I should probably also just quickly go over what it does, even though I cover it quite extensively in my spoiler video. It's a 0-cost Ranger non-attack action, and it says, your next arrow attack this turn gains +3, and if it hits a hero, at the beginning of their next end phase, they discard all cards in their hand and destroy all cards in their arsenal. It's just a really good way of putting them in a really tricky situation where they basically have no defenses and have to operate with a random hand, because they still get a draw up at the end of your turn, because this happens at the beginning of their end phase, so they still get a draw up, but it kind of it clears out their arsenal, it ruins all their setup. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Like I said, you can run this in Lexi, but, you know, if you use this in Lexi and it hits your opponent, they can just play all their cards, right, if they can. But for Azalea, if you're using this in conjunction with Red in the Ledger, especially if it's a dominated Red in the Ledger, it just makes it so they can only do one action. So they're going to maybe end up, you know, having to discard 2 cards and that kind of stuff. It's also only a 2-card setup, well, 2 specific card setup with Azalea, because if you have this in your hand and you have Knock the Death Whistle, you can play the Knock the Death Whistle and go fetch your Red in the Ledger, put it on top, and then you can, you know, use Azalea's special ability to dominate the Red in the Ledger after you play the Seek and Destroy. You'll need some resources and whatnot too, so, you know, like a 3 to 4 card hand, but you only need 2 specific cards. The other cards don't matter. Or you can use your Spring Tunic to generate the resources. Anyway, amazing. Card's amazing. Next up, we have Bolton Shot. I think this is going to be one of the last cards we talk about today, if not the last card. I think this is great. This is a great card. This is a 0-cost Ranger attack action. It's an arrow. Blocks for 3. Art is really, really cool. Look at this Ranger, dude. I really like his hat. I'm actually designing a playmat. I don't want to go into it too much, but it doesn't look quite like this, but anyway, there's a character on my playmat who kind of looks like this. So it's a 0-cost Ranger arrow attack action. Like I said, attacks for 4, so 0 cost for 4. Pretty good. While Bolton Shot's attack is greater than its base attack, it has go again, and if it hits, reload. Yo, so this card is freaking awesome, because you're going to want a lot of pump cards in your Ranger decks, especially like Azalea, so you can have your stuff like Seek and Destroy, but you're also going to be playing like Nimblism, you're going to be playing like your what's it called? The Take Aims. You're going to play some other pump effects. I think Captain's Call is also fantastic. There's a lot of like pump cards that you're going to run in this style of deck, and this card just synergizes so well with it. Even if you don't have your Seek and Destroy, you can pump it up with your Nimblism or whatever else. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Definitely going to run at least the reds. I'm not sure about the other ones, but amazing card. Yellow is 3 attack, and blues are 2 attack. And I think it's just really sweet. One thing I really like to note about this is it's not an on-hit effect. You just get it if its attack is greater than its base attack, which is perfect because it makes it so like you have a reason to run the yellows and the blues, right, for the resources, or you can still like pump it up, attack, and it has go again, and then if it hits you get the reload, but maybe you have another way to get a card in your arsenal anyway, like, you know, maybe with the Voltaire strikes twice where you can, you know, use its ability twice. Anyway, Fantastic card. This is going to be a Ranger staple in my opinion. I think it's really good, especially for go tall decks. It kind of like synergizes too with like a hybrid style deck where you want go tall and go wide. Anyway, I think it is fantastic. And that's going to do it. That was a good whopping 30 minutes. In the next spoiler video, we're going to talk about Oldhim, the new Guardian hero, who is really, really sweet, and a bunch of other stuff. But that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I will see you next time for some more Flesh and Blood content. Have a good one all. We'll see you later.